You are listening to Sports Noise, episode 117. Where's my money, Gino? You got my money, Gino? Where's my money, Gino? Yes, that's right. We were making fun of another person getting the shit beat out of him by his player. Well, I am your host, as always, John Carroll, and I'm joined by my co-hosts. First, I'm joined by the pretty one, Glenn Ring.
Howdy, howdy, folks.
And the brains?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Steve Steffens?
Bitch better have my money!
Money! Yes, I think they just threw that in the intro, Steve. They heard that for about 15 seconds.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I just got carried away.
I think it's funny that I replaced my now custom open, which is a Charlotte Flair's theme, with that. So, all right. Gino apparently agreed to pay back a reserve linebacker $600 for a plane ticket that he no-showed because he had somebody die a few days before, and he wouldn't pay the money, or he got really pissy, and the player punched him in one punch drop. Yeah. What else am I missing?
He broke his jaw.
6 to 10 weeks, so that's actually a good thing for the Jets offense.
Oh yeah,
Well,
Ryan.
I mean, if you remove the reasoning behind it, Geno Smith does not need to be out. I mean, if this happened to an established quarterback, it would suck because they missed preseason. But if anybody needs some preseason snaps, it's Geno.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, this is the kind of thing that has been giving football a bad name, but then it kind of got. Of course, the Jets immediately released IK Enemkpali.
Close enough.
That's a good old Irish name. But you know what?
Black Irish.
The league is very forgiving. How forgiving, you ask?
Although the league is looking into this as a workplace issue.
Well, yes. I mean, it's certainly a workplace violence issue. But that didn't stop Mr. Enemkpali's former coach, Rex Ryan, from claiming him off waivers for the Buffalo Bills. Rex Ryan, you magnificent bastard. What a way to thumb your nose at your former employers.
I will point out that the Bills have a good, strong front seven, so he may not make it out of camp.
Well, that's true.
Well, no, I think this is another example of things that happen in the 24-hour news cycle. I think things happened all the time. It's just that you didn't have all these sources of information out there to report everything that happens.
Steve, getting back on your point, I also think it's a sneaky way for good old Brexy to get rid of E.J. Manuel.
Well.
Hey, look, he owes you money.
You're talking about their starting quarterback.
According to this,
That's funny. I was listening.
Ryan Fitzpatrick now.
Oh, for the Jets,
yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick or Patrick Fitz-Ryan, one of them.
Yeah, or Fitz-Ryan, yeah. That was actually a sketch on SNL.
Yes. No, I'm well aware of it.
What was it, Seth Meyers and Colin Quinn?
No, it was Fallon.
Seth Meyers and Fallon, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, I think the best description I ever heard of E.J. Manuel was done, I think it was yesterday, by the ESPN Football Today podcast. Yeah. E.J. Manuel has the size, the look, the appearance of an NFL quarterback, but he doesn't have the performance of an NFL quarterback.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And I feel sorry for our local sports columnist, Jeff Calkins, who he grew up in beautiful Buffalo, and
nobody's ever said that without laughing.
Well, that's true. But Buffalo, gateway to
Syracuse.
Oh, I can't even. Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls.
Go that turn step by step, inch by inch.
By inch.
Buffalo, because you couldn't quite make it the extra hour to go to Canada.
Oh, yeah.
So Buffalo has been mediocre to bad basically since the Super Bowl days, right?
Yes.
Well, mediocre to bad since, I don't know, the Music City Miracle.
Christmas Day, about to do Saturday night ESPN.
Oof, that's me. Hang on.
Yep, Music City Miracle was the last time they made it. They appeared in the playoffs.
Up on the same night, November 11th.
Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah, where's that coming from?
There was some video thing online that I had opened up a page.
Oh, that's okay.
That's cool. We can edit
I
that
mean,
out.
it seemed Buffalo seemed to be like one of those teams where it's like, you got to watch out for Buffalo next year. They could be the team that's the dark horse, and they just never have been able to get over the hump.
This is a team that relied on Rob Johnson and Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
Rob Johnson.
I mean, there's a reason that New England's been able to have this string of division championships. We've had 3 teams in Jets, Buffalo, and Miami that have been mediocre to bad pretty much the entire time.
Yes. I mean, it's with the exception of the first couple of years of Mark Sanchez, the Jets have stunk. The Dolphins, except for the one outlier year, they've stunk. The Bills have been stinking pretty much since the late 90s. And
when you have a 5-1, 4-2 division record every year, that's a good start in having a good playoff run.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the Patriots can sleepwalk through the division and have on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
But
I mean, all right. What do you think the implications for this for Geno are? I mean, basically, he's going to be out minimum the first 2 weeks of the season.
that's good.
Does that mean basically? I think this could be the writing on the wall for the end of his career there, because I mean, Todd Bowles has no built-in loyalty to him.
No.
Well, that's why I said he didn't need to miss training camp. I mean, this was kind of the make or break year for him anyway.
Yeah.
And to start off by missing training camp in the first few games, that already set you back when you were already kind of in a bad position anyway.
And how is this going to go in the locker room? I mean,
Could have paid your money.
yeah. Number one, he's the starting quarterback. You don't have $600? Why are you treating your brother on the team like that? You know, I think that they're going to have to let him go, because simply put, even after he does heal, he wasn't that good to begin with, and there's going to be a real leadership issue. After this happens, how does the rest of the team look at him and go, yeah, this is the guy who's going to lead us to a championship? Oh, not just no, but hell no.
Well, it's almost like these spread guys are kind of like the modern version of the Nebraska quarterbacks. They were really good college quarterbacks, but had no way of making it NFL.
Yep.
And it's kind of the same thing with all these spread guys. I mean, a couple of guys are going to break through, but for the most part, I don't think they're going to make it in the NFL.
We'll see how Jameis Winston does. Of course, he could throw the ball fairly well. So,
A little bit. Guys, I'm just going to leave off bad jokes at this point.
yeah.
Well, I think Winston has a work. He's got the physical skills, but he's going to be a Ryan Leaf, Jeff George situation. I think the thing that might take him down is the maturity thing.
Yeah.
If he can keep his head on straight, I think he at least has a shot to make it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, one would think.
I got my favorite site here for draft preview.
Oh,
RogerFootball.com.
oh,
Yeah, let's see. Who are they projecting for the 2016 NFL mock draft? There you go. Let's see. I don't want the dates. Give me yours. Damn it. There we go.
oh.
They are projecting the first pick in the draft to go to the Browns, which I could see. To be Cardell Jones.
Ooh, Cardell Jones to the Browns, going home. Oh man.
Now, the third pick, the next quarterback they have is Christian Hackenberg, who is actually my sleeper pick for the Heisman this year. They've also got Connor Cook going number 5 to the Bears. The Bears could be terrible. They're probably going to be terrible this year. You have 3 Ole Miss players in the top 9? Okay.
Wasn't that a fairly senior-laden team?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got the Jets finishing 8th and taking Robert Ndamukong from Ole Miss. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I think Tim Dichie could be a top 5 pick. Yeah.
But I mean, is the Jets going to fall down that far?
Well, you got to wonder, you know. I mean, you know, what was it? Somebody said, I think Peter King said yesterday, look, it's the Jets. It's just the Jets being the Jets.
Well, they have all the makings of a 4 or 5 win team.
Yeah. Maybe if things break right for them.
Yeah, they and the Browns are going to be horrible this year.
Well, no, you know, the Browns actually were in it until late in the season.
You mean until reality struck?
Well,
Actually, they went downhill once Alex Mack went down.
yeah.
And ironically enough, the Browns and the Jets opened the season against each other.
Wow.
A scoreless tie.
Oh.
The Browns could be a 5-win team. They could be a 3-win team. They could be a 7-win team. Their over-under, I think, is 6.
Well,
That's something we'll cover in about 2 or 3 weeks of the over-unders.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Jet schedule, and like there's an October through November run where they've got the Redskins, Patriots, Raiders, Jags, Bills, and Texans. If they're going to win some games, it's going to have to be in that stretch. It's pretty tough other than that.
Yeah. I think there's a shot at 2-14 here. I mean,
For the Jets?
yeah.
I think their defense is good enough that that's not going to happen, but I think they're going to be just bad enough that they're not going to get the top. They're going to be down in the bottom 5, but I think it'll be just good enough they'll be in the top. They'll miss it.
Well, but you know, the thing of it is, when you have a team with a great defense and no offense, and the defense saves your butt in the first 4 or 5 games, the defense starts wearing down and wearing out, and by the time you get to game 12 or 13, there's nothing left in the tank. They've already given their all, and that's when they really start getting blown out. Because
and Gino got turnover happy, and there's only so many times you can give your defense a short field because of bad turnovers and so forth, that it just doesn't start taking its toll.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to play that way, you cannot turn the ball over.
Yeah. I heard a bad joke today. You know, Gino actually saw the punch coming.
Is it racial?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank God.
No. Hey, I'm not Doris from Rego Park, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank Gods.
Anyway. So, you know, Gino saw the punch coming, and he was getting ready to throw one of his own. Unfortunately, it was intercepted and taken 65 yards, but anyway.
You could also say that about a certain quarterback, that's at a team that's up 55.
Mm. Wow.
The Bears are going to be terrible. You realize that, right?
Oh, well, maybe.
Steve, look at their schedule.
All right, I'll do that.
Admittedly, their schedule is the exact same as Green Bay outside of, maybe 2 games. But
Let me just check my Chicago Bears. I think they have a fighting chance at 7-9.
are you in an alternate universe?
Maybe. Let's see. All right, let's see. They open the regular season at home with the Packers. Oh, there's a loss. Then they're home against the Cardinals. That's probably a loss. Then they're playing the Seahawks. That's probably a loss. Then there's the Raiders. Well, I think they can win that. So they're 1-3. Then they play the Chiefs, 1-4. Lions, 1-5. Vikings, 1-6. Chargers. Oh, let's get crazy. 2-6.
That's on Monday night at San Diego.
Okay, yeah, I'll still say 2-6.
Hey. He'll have all 7 of his kids there, with number 8 in the oven.
I don't care. They're not playing. 2-6. Then the Rams 3-6. Broncos.
Oh, no. At St. Louis, nah. Short week, probably.
3-6. Broncos 3-7. Packers 3-8. Niners still 3-9. Redskins 4-9.
I think he'll beat San Francisco.
Well, good.
At least at Chicago.
Vikings 4-10. At Buccaneers 5-10. At Lions 5-11. All right, 5-11.
I would go under. I'd say 4-12, but
No, I'm going
I think they'll at least split with the Vikings.
I don't
Minnesota?
know. I mean,
it's not like the weather's going to be any different up there.
yeah.
And you're that Green Bay, the second one. That's the night game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to. Aaron Rodgers is going to see how many touchdowns he can throw. Dude, your defense is going to be.
Too bad you don't have that.
Well, I know that.
Too bad you don't have that Niner game earlier in the year. The Niners might have their shit together by then.
No, they won't. Let me see, who do they play right before that? Come on, pull up. The Niners play Seattle at Seattle. No, I'm sorry, they play the dreaded bye.
Ooh.
No, Arizona. They play Arizona.
Yeah, but Chicago also has 10 days to prepare for that game. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they play Thanksgiving and they don't play again until the following week.
I feel sorry for. Oh God, this is a terrible run for San Francisco. October 18th, Sunday, home for Baltimore. Thursday, October 22nd, home for Seattle. And then they go to St. Louis. Yeah, I think that team's going to be beat up after that 3-game stretch. Let's move on from the NFL schedule. Let's move over to the NBA schedule. Steve, you had some information up?
Yes. Not surprisingly, your two conference champions, Cleveland and Golden State, have the max number of national appearances at 25. The Clips and the Thunder are at 24. Derrick Rose and his Bulls at 23. The Spurs 21, the Rockets 19, the Lakers 19, the Pellies, the lovely New Orleans Pelicans 13, the aging and decrepit Miami Heat 11. The Grizzlies only have 10 national appearances, 5 on ESPN, 5 on TNT. ESPN, I think, is carrying the King game at 1:30 p.m. on January 12th. The Hawks 8, the Celtics, Pacers, Mavs, Knicks all have 7. The T-Wolves, Suns, Blazers, Wizards have 5. Bucks and Kings 4 each. The Jazz 3 times. The Raptors twice. The Nets and Hornets and Magic once. And the Nuggets, Pistons, and Sixers are all skunked. But then again, can you blame them?
Now is the TV schedule completely
all the
laid out, or
national
do they have some where they can switch some games into a national audience?
Well, I mean, what I'm seeing here is not showing the NBA TV games, which of course, tend
Pretty
to
much
pop up.
That's a Tuesday. If it's on a Tuesday or on a Friday night or Saturday night, that tends to be the NBA TV games, or even a Sunday night game.
Right. This year, ESPN will have 74 games, TNT 53 games, ABC will have 16 games. Under the new deal next year, ESPN and ABC will combine for 100 games, and TNT will show 64. So one of the things that they've done, according to this Deadspin article, is that they've tried to do their best to cut back the number of back-to-backs and instances of 4 games and 5 nights. They've cut the 4 games and 5 nights back by more than 60%, going from 70 instances in last season to 27 for the coming season. And the team average for back-to-back games has been trimmed by a game and a half from 19.3 to 17.8. You're talking about flexing of games. This season, they say, we'll see an increase in flex scheduling, ensuring better matchups. Last year, ESPN flexed out a number of its games, especially ones involving the Knicks, but ABC
and the Lakers.
Yeah. ABC and TNT were less able to do so, as they generally had more exclusive Sunday and Thursday night windows with fewer simultaneous games. But it looks like there's more Thursdays with 6 games on the schedule as opposed to 3. So that's one of the ways, by having more Thursday night games, they are able to get rid of so many back-to-backs and 4 games and 5 nights. Now, opening night is going to be on TNT, with Cleveland opening up at Chicago and the Pelicans heading to Golden State.
What day? What day of the week?
October 27th.
Okay, because that means guess where Cleveland goes the next night?
Where? Here.
Down on the corner. The FedEx Forum. Yes. We got them on the 28th.
Yes. So we got Cleveland at home on the 28th. That's great. Thank you. It's too early for college football just yet, but anyway.
That game is currently probably going to be an ESPN game, but they haven't announced it yet. So.
Yes. They have the Christmas Day slate announced already. These times are going to be Central. New Orleans versus Miami at 11 a.m. on ESPN. Chicago versus OKC at 1:30 on ABC. Golden State Cleveland at 4 on ABC. San Antonio Houston at 7 on ESPN, and the night winds up at 9:30 in the Battle of the Staples Center, the Clips, and the Lakers.
By the way, whose Wheaties did we fucking piss in? Have you looked at the Grizzlies' last 5 games?
I have not. I've not looked at the Grizz schedule yet. I'm about to go pull it up.
Home for Chicago on the 5th.
Yeah.
To Dallas on NBA TV on the 8th. then home on Saturday for Golden State, then at LA and at Golden State to finish the season on a back-to-back.
Wow.
So they go back-to-back on the 8th and 9th, and then back-to-back on the 12th, 13th. Who's Ouija said we fucking piss in?
Plus at the end of March,
perspective, they don't have
home with San Antonio.
Yeah.
After a home and home with San Antonio after a 3-game road trip on the West Coast. The Phoenix, Los Angeles, San Antonio.
They've got a home and home with LA in February on the 24th and 26th. Yeah. They go into the break at Brooklyn, and then they're home for Minnesota on the 10th and 19th. Yeah, it looks like the Grizz are done with the Spurs early.
Wow.
Because they don't. Well, I take it back now. They got the back-to-back you just mentioned.
That's just horrible. The last 3 games are Warrior.
Their last 10 games are fucking. That's the last 10 games are fucking brutal.
Yeah, their April schedule, other than the first 2 games, are pretty bad.
All right, you've got.
In their last 13 games, they play the Clip twice, the Spurs twice, and Golden State twice. At least they don't. At least we're not having to go to Denver in that. We have Denver at home at least.
And 2 of our last 3 games involve the Warriors. The last home game on Saturday night, April 9th, and then God. Ugh. Yeah. Boy. It's gonna be tough. I mean, but, you know.
Ooh. I just found the guaranteed first Groupon game.
Oh?
Thursday, December. No, wait, no, that's at Philly. Damn it. Sunday, November 29th at home for Philly at home.
Oh, yeah, that's a 5 o'clock game. Yeah, that's a Groupon game.
It's a 6 o'clock game. No, it's Eastern 5. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's find another one. Let's see. Okay, who's shitty?
Wow. When do the Knicks come in? Wait a minute. Okay, no, that's on the road.
Yeah, I got it.
We keep going. Oh, that's it on the road.
What do you got?
Well, Monday, December 14th versus the Wizards. Not that the Wizards are necessarily bad, but who's gonna go out on a Monday night in the middle of December to see them play the Wizards?
Ooh, Sunday, January 10th, Boston. Thursday, January 14th, Detroit. Saturday, January 16th, the Knicks. There you go. There's a few games right there.
Yeah.
There's no big Groupon games in December. I mean, they're on the road a lot in December. They're on the road 5 out of 6 games from the 18th through the 26th.
How about Monday night, January 25th? Orlando's in town. That could very well be a Groupon game.
Even better, on Thursday they're against Milwaukee. That game could get flexed if Milwaukee's any good.
Yes.
Wednesday, March 2nd, Sacramento.
It's almost getting too late to be a one, but yeah.
Well, I'm just looking for the bad teams, especially in the middle of the week.
Because Friday, March 4th, you're not going to get any Groupon games on Friday.
Friday, March 11th. No, that's New Orleans.
That's New Orleans, you know. Hell, New Orleans has more TV games than we do.
Oh, well, they've got Anthony Davis.
Well, yes.
So would I. Let's be honest. So would you.
Yeah.
So is it not necessarily a quality thing, but just the style thing? You think that the Grizzlies don't get more? You don't have a superstar, and they don't play exciting basketball.
They win, but that's just the problem. They just win. They don't do anything else. You know?
And you don't have that marquee name necessarily to.
Man, I hate to say it, the Cleveland could get off to a oh my god start. They could go into the game on Atlanta, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They could be 12-0 going into the home game against Atlanta on the 21st. Because they start at Chicago, at Memphis, home for Miami, at Philly, at New York. I'm sorry, home for New York, home for Philly, home for Indiana, home for Utah, at the Knicks, at Milwaukee, at Detroit, home for Milwaukee. Then if they get past Atlanta, then they've got Orlando, Toronto, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Washington, New Orleans, Miami, Portland, Orlando again, Boston. It's not impossible to say. They could be 22-0 going into the Oklahoma City game. I mean, would I expect it? No, but they could be 20-2 easily going into that game. Look at that schedule. That's such a cake schedule. They could be 20-2, 21-1, or 22-0 easily. And then after that, they've got Philly and the Knicks, and then they've got the game against Golden State. But even after that, oh my God, their schedule. God, fuck you, East.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many? I mean, look at Miami when LeBron was there. I mean, how inflated were their records just because of playing more East than West teams?
Yeah, I mean, they've got one difficult stretch of the season where they've got on the 14th, 15th, and 18th of January at San Antonio, at Houston, and then home for Golden State.
Huh.
I mean, other than that, they really don't have a difficult game until they play Oklahoma City on the 21st. Yeah.
Yeah.
60 wins. They're going to win 60 easily.
Well, you would think. I mean, provided everyone stays healthy. Yeah. That's always the key. Is everybody going to stay healthy? You know, all you need is one big injury, and that's the end of that. You know, LeBron has made it fairly, you know, he's made it a long way with very few injuries, and he's been very lucky, but he's no spring chicken.
No, but
I don't know. It just, I think, you know, you can project them out to that, certainly. But, oh, that's a video. I hate video. Unless I'm actually trying to watch a video. But if I'm on radio...
I don't need to know what videos you like to watch, okay?
No, it's all right. No, you can't find Swedish... Anyway...
Why do you always go to the Swedes? Did you just not like the Norwegians?
I'm a descendant of Norwegians, so, you know.
Yeah, you're a descendant from Polacks.
Well, that too.
You know, it's funny, all of this discussion of the schedule, everything, you know, we won't even really know anything until October 26th.
Yeah. True enough.
Really, we won't know anything until December 25th. Yeah. All right. No.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, it seems like a lot of people don't really pay attention completely until the NBA, until football's over.
Yeah, I mean, they've always talked about how the NBA season doesn't start until Christmas.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, that's when everybody really starts paying attention because you're just about at the end of the NFL season, you know, getting ready for the playoffs. And
well, I think you have a couple of weeks when the season opens, and then it kind of drips off because then the NFL starts getting into its playoff push.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then they go, well, wait a minute. Then once the Super Bowl's over, then it's All-Star time.
Right.
And then people really get into it. The All-Star game is so late now, there's usually only, 2 months left after that?
Yeah, that's how it's always been. It's always been
Are
like
they
the
are
first
they
week of
doing the
February.
whole week off again?
Yes, they're getting the whole week off. That was negotiated in. Yeah. That was one of the reasons why they had to really rejigger and do the whole thing with Thursday night this time, because when they did it last year and they gave them the week, they basically that's why they had to have a lot of those 4 and 5s last year. But then, yeah.
Well, and I think that really that having 2 games for TNT to choose from doesn't do them any favors if one of the teams they think is good flops. I mean, it seems like it does them better to have a little more flexibility in that.
You would think. You would think.
I mean, for the past few years, what they've had like 1 or 2 games on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, moving up to 6 will be a good thing.
Yep. Are we done with the NBA schedule, or do we want to talk a little more about it?
And we got plenty of time to talk about the NBA.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so, well, it's about that time. You can smell it because they're already practicing. They went into pads.
What is high school football?
It sounds like college. How long do college starts?
A month.
No, less.
1 month, maybe less.
Well, it's
Thursday night game, I know that.
the first Thursday night game is 4 weeks away. It is 3 little weeks away from the time
September
it's
3rd.
released. On Thursday, September 3rd, at 5 o'clock, the Battle of the Carolinas. North
Oh,
Carolina versus South Carolina.
oh. That in Columbia or Chapel Hill?
Columbia.
Mm.
And you've already got a what the fuck game, Oklahoma State at Central Michigan.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, your what the fuck game?
No.
Oh, your 7:30. So I'm sorry, 6:30 here kickoff. Michigan at Utah.
Yes, and who's going to be on that broadcast? Fox's new boy toy, the lovely and talented Mr. Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Battle of the Brains, Duke and Tulane.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy.
Wow, they got a whole slate that Thursday night.
Oh yeah. TCU, Minnesota.
Yeah. Go, go, Gophers. Watch them. Go, go, go.
It is Labor Day weekend, so.
Oh, yeah.
But you've also got Michigan State at Western Michigan.
Oh, that'll... At Western Michigan?
I know. It's
Good
what
Lord.
the fuck?
Yeah, and you've got Florida International at UCF. Woohoo!
Yeah. No.
Alcorn State at Georgia Tech. And Alcorn is not a state. We Googled it. Said no, anyway. Sorry.
Colorado getting its bowl game already.
Oh,
Plays in Hawaii.
yes. Oh, and don't forget, live from the Kibbe Dome in Moscow, Idaho, Ohio U at Idaho. Go Vandals.
On ESPN 3.
Yes. And Colorado at Hawaii at 11 p.m. Central. Bye.
Oh man, this is a great way to close out your day on Friday. Washington at Boise State.
The hell with you. I'm going to be watching Kent State at Illinois on Big Ten Network.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, Steve, I thought you were protesting Illinois until they fired their head coach.
Well, that's a good point. But,
I got
I'm a
scum, okay?
Oh, yeah. There's no question about it.
Yes.
Why they haven't fired him, I don't know. They fired everybody else.
Because they don't want to they don't have to deal with the buyout.
Yes. And Weber State at Oregon State, since I get the Pac-12 networks now on Uverts. Woohoo!
Okay.
Yes.
The true battle of the brains on Saturday, Stanford and Northwestern.
Yeah, the SAT Bowl.
Yes, the SAT Bowl.
Navy's going to have to clean up their act with Colgate.
Oh.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything better.
Well, yeah, I know. Boy, there's some exciting games. Wofford at Clemson. Youngstown State in Pittsburgh in the Mafia Bowl.
It's the time to take your beating games. Oh, there's a paycheck. Thank you.
Yeah, Maine at BC.
Cornhuskers versus the Marriage Bowl.
Yeah. BYU at Nebraska. I wonder if BYU will get in a fight again. The battle for Eastern Pennsylvania. Penn State at Temple at
they
the
are
Link
facing
in
a team that's
Philly.
mostly white, so they probably would win.
Yeah. UTEP at Arkansas.
I'm still not seeing a good game yet on Saturday. I mean, there's the Stanford game is going to be good. But Jesus Christ, there's nothing
maybe
good.
Louisville and Auburn.
Louisville, Auburn, yes. And
At the Georgia Dome.
At the Georgia Dome. And Virginia at UCLA live from the Rose Bowl.
2:30, the 2:30 CBS game, by the way, is that
It's Louisville, Auburn, yeah.
Let's see, Auburn, Buffalo, Bowling Green, and Tennessee in Nashville.
Yes, LP Field.
What?
Yes. LP Field.
I will not make a joke about equality bowls. Grambling State at Cal and Bethune-Cookman at Miami.
Yeah, and Towson at East Carolina.
Yeah.
Texas at Notre Dame.
Where? Oh yeah, that'll be good. That's a primetime game on NBC. Live from the Holy House.
You got two teams that underachieved last year. They'll see where they start their seasons off.
Yes. And you, of course, forgot, live from the Liberty Bowl, Missouri State at Memphis. As Memphis gets primed for their trip the next week to Kansas.
You got the Badgers versus the Crimson Tide.
Oh, that's right, in the Jerry Dome in Arlington.
We hadn't gotten there yet. We got to keep scrolling.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, here's one that you would have thought would have been a bigger game. Mississippi State at Southern Miss on Fox.
Yeah, that would have been a better game 5 years ago when Southern Miss was good.
Yeah, that's a 9 o'clock game, but clearly they saved the very best game for last.
Yeah,
at 10 o'clock, live from the Coliseum, your Arkansas State Red Wolves take on the Southern California Trojans. I figure that game's a pick'em. What say you?
Yeah.
Are you seriously? Are you drunk?
Now, has Mississippi State and Southern Miss played before?
Yes, they used to play on a regular basis. Ole Miss only played Southern at gunpoint by order of the legislature, and then the legislature let it drop. So nobody plays Southern. State.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sunday, September 6th. Sunday's going to be. Why couldn't they move some of these games to Sunday? Or
Purdue
one game on
Marshall.
Sunday. Purdue and Marshall.
Yes. And then Ohio State at Virginia Tech on Monday night.
I'm going to have to be drunk to be getting enjoyment out of that game.
Yeah. Wisconsin at Alabama. Well, I figure Alabama should be a slight favorite. at 20. And
Stony Brook and Toledo in the Glass Bowl. Just don't throw any rocks.
South Dakota at Kansas State.
You would need a glass bowl to watch that game.
Ooh, the Battle of Louisiana, McNeese State at LSU. I think LSU should be a slight favorite there.
Okay, looking at the next week on Thursday, here's your counter programming.
Oh, wait a minute. We missed one. We missed a potential good one. 6 o'clock live from Houston, Arizona State at Texas A&M. That might be a good game. Or not.
Counter programming to the good old Patriots. La Tech in Western Kentucky the next week.
Oh, yeah.
Battle of the Beehive, Utah State, Utah on Friday. Is that what they fight for?
Something like that.
Or is that Utah and BYU? Yeah.
Utah State at Utah, live from...
It is slim pickings week 2. You thought week 1 was bad.
Wow.
Oregon State and Michigan.
Wow, Miami is going up to Boca to play Florida Atlantic. What?
Oh, legally they have to play a road game, so.
Yeah.
Wow, Georgia and Vandy in an early SEC tilt.
Wow.
Would that be Vandy versus Ole Miss?
That's usually like third or fourth week.
I was going to say, shouldn't that be Georgia, Auburn, and Vandy, Ole Miss?
Yeah. Wow, the ACC opener for Notre Dame playing at Virginia.
Houston, Louisville might be interesting.
Toledo at Arkansas from War Memorial.
Well, early test for UT, Oklahoma at Tennessee.
And if Tennessee should pull the upset, will it be time to start the Bob Stoops Death Watch?
I mean, the Justin Fuente Higher Watch?
Yeah, I was about to... Yeah, that's the only problem with that. If you're doing one, you're probably going to be doing the other.
Wow, that Arkansas State is starting off with a tough schedule. The USC and then Missouri.
Yes. But
hey,
look
Missouri
at
at Arkansas State, though.
Yes, that is live from Centennial Bank Stadium in Jonesboro.
Yeah,
That's an ESPN3 game. I'm surprised that the SEC networks showing. Oh well, no, they've got Kentucky at South Carolina, so that's a full-on conference game. Memphis at
Oregon at NC State.
What?
Oregon at,
yeah.
the Ducks at Sparty live on ABC. Rice at Texas. Oh, I also have a Longhorn Network. I'll be able to watch that.
Ooh, 8:15 LSU Mississippi State.
Damn, that's early for that. Week 2?
Well, I mean, who is LSU playing later in the season? Let me see. Oh, don't forget they've got to be able to get their tune-up game before they play Alabama. They got before the Alabama game they play Western Kentucky and then the dreaded bye.
Well, it's not a huge game, but it probably will play into who gets that slot for the non-Power 5 conference, Boise at BYU.
Yeah. Then by the time you get into week 3, they're really kicking it up a notch on the Thursday games. Clemson at Louisville, which is a big early ACC game.
Yeah, week 2 has a couple of good games, but no depth. There's negative depth.
Well, you've got a couple of teams that play, like Alabama. It plays Wisconsin, but then they go to Middle Tennessee for their second game.
Yeah.
Wow, that third week, the potential death penalty bowl, Illinois at North Carolina.
It's only in basketball, North Carolina.
Well,
Illinois should get it just because their coach is an asshole.
Northwestern at Duke. Temple at
Northwestern only
UMass.
playing teams out of conference. Is Duke only playing teams out of conference that actually have an IQ?
There you go.
Because, I mean, so far I think they've played, like, what, Tulane as well?
Wow, the ABC 2:30 game, Northern Illinois at Ohio State. Interesting.
Are you
Memphis
high?
is going to Bowling Green.
Yeah, because we got them coming back next year.
Yeah.
No, the 2:30 ABC game is Nebraska and Miami, you dork.
Well, that's one of them. The other one is Northern Illinois at Ohio State. One of them will be on ABC. One of them will be on ESPN2, and they'll.
Geez, I think that's going to be really hard to figure out which one's going to be on ESPN2 unless you're in Columbus.
Or DeKalb. Auburn LSU is the.
Why would you want to be in DeKalb?
CBS game, Auburn at LSU.
Yes. I have a Portillo's in Sycamore, which is right next door to DeKalb, so I'll never mind. So South Carolina at Georgia, an early big game for Georgia. That's at 5 o'clock on ESPN.
Colorado and Colorado State. That's Colorado State's big. Hopefully that's their pelt for the gang of five.
Yes. Tennessee gets to relax after having played Oklahoma. They get Western Carolina on DU.
I'll be curious about that Texas Tech Arkansas game.
Well, I mean, they ought to both dress in Southwest Conference throwbacks. That's on ESPN2. Rutgers at Penn State. Cal at Texas on Fox.
Ole Miss, Alabama, early.
Whoa, what? Oh my God, 8:15 from Tuscaloosa. Oh,
Yeah, that'll be the main ESPN night game.
that'll be payback time.
Now your games, Alabama's schedule's a little better this year. You don't have a run of more than one or two teams in a row. I mean, this year you go Wisconsin, MTSU, Ole Miss, Louisiana Monroe, Georgia, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Tennessee, by LSU, Mississippi State, Charleston, Southern, and then Auburn. So you've actually got a good breakup of the schedule this year.
Wow, Stanford at USC is the 7 o'clock ABC game, live from the Coliseum.
Yeah, I think that late October into November schedule is going to be the key for Alabama. The Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State, and Auburn.
Yes.
And they're at Georgia, which is going to be interesting.
It's a fairly good week 3.
Yeah. Last year we didn't see a lot of. Well, I mean, we'll talk about this when we do the preview in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Last year we really didn't see a lot of big name coaches fired or quit, other than a certain guy at Florida.
Yeah.
You could see what 3 SEC coaches fired or this year. At least 2 could leave easily or be fired.
Well, let's see. Who's
Georgia.
Yeah, you got to figure Rick's on the hot seat, and you got to think that if South Carolina either does really, really well or stinks on ice, that maybe the old ball coach will finally retire to the golf course. I think he's a possibility. And another possibility is, let's say LSU goes 8-4 or 7-5. You think they'll start getting real hot for Les Miles?
You could. I think what's also.
I think if they have another season like that, Les will start the next season on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I think he's bought enough. I think he's bought enough to buy him one more year. But if he has 2 years in a row that are mediocre to bad, then they'll start grumbling.
Yeah. I can see that.
All right, who's thumping their mic? Okay.
I'm not.
You could see, honestly, it's State if he leaves.
What?
I think they're starting to see some of the Ole Miss is starting to get the NCAA circling around it.
Well, I mean, Jim Kelly's nephew and the kid. Although now it turns out that the kid that had the problems that turned out to be the defensive player. That turned out to be more of a case of his stepfather threatening him than anything actual. The NCAA, I think, pretty much cleared him. I can't even think of his name. It's not Kim Diche. It's
It
one
was
of
the
the other.
offensive lineman, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't trust him. So.
Well, I think we'll just see if the NCAA keeps sniffing. I think people are going to be watching Mullen to see if I mean State can't have any more years where they start out like 8-0 and then fade completely. They really, after starting off so well, they just absolutely stank down the stretch.
Well, they've always had the hard part of their toughest part of their schedule is the back half.
Yeah. And
I mean, looking at their last 4 games, Mizzou, at Mizzou, home for Bama, at Arkansas, home for Ole Miss.
yeah.
And before that, I mean, they've got a run there. I mean, they open Southern Miss, home for LSU, home for Northwestern State, at Auburn, at Texas A&M, home for Troy, home for La Tech, home for Kentucky. 6-2, outside of 7-1.
Wow. Now I'm going to say I think they're looking at 7-1, but then all of a sudden
Be Auburn or which one do you think they'll be, LSU or Auburn?
LSU. I think they'll beat LSU. I'm not sold on LSU. I think they're going to come out thumping on LSU, even though it's going to be a Saturday night in Baton Rouge. I get that, but I still think they come out thumping, and I think they go 7-1 into Missouri. But if they win that, all of a sudden they're 8-1. But then they've got Bama, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. They could just easily crap out and go 8-4.
Oh, easily. But that's the limitation.
What about Sumlin at 8M?
Well, let's see how much. Let's take a look at their schedule, and remember, he understood all too well the problems they had with their defense, and he went out and got himself John Chavis. Well, it may take more than a year. You got to figure there will be some upside on their defense to start off. They got a toughie right off the bat with Arizona State on the 5th, but then after that, Ball State, Nevada. Then they go to the Jerry Dome to play the Razorbacks on the 26th. So I think you can say, well, 2-2 at that point. But then State, Bama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. That's a tough stretch for him, and it's not out of the realm to think they could all of a sudden find themselves at 2-6. And if they're 2-6 or 3-5 going into that, now the last third, they've got their stretch of games 5 through 9 are State at home, Bama at home, at Ole Miss, South Carolina at home, Auburn at home. Yes, 4 or 5 at home, but still, I don't think that matters. I think they lose at least 4 of those 5, and if they've started 2-2, all of a sudden they're in deep crap. And I can see your point about Sumlin. They end up with their final home game is the 14th against Western Carolina. They go to Vandy and LSU to close out. Yeah, I mean, so this is has the potential to be a really tough year for Sumlin if Chavis can't get a quick turnaround.
You can keep talking.
Oh,
I think the thing about it was what 2 years ago is when you had the mass firing. So there's just so many new coaches right now.
yeah. I'll tell you who intrigues me, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say they could be a dark horse in the East, especially if Georgia plays poorly. If UT starts 4-0, which means they'd have to beat Oklahoma and Florida, all of a sudden, if UT starts 4-0, they're the dark horse in the East. But they have their own problems. They have a traditional weak last 3 games: home against North Texas, at Missouri, which may not be that weak, and of course Vandy.
Don't talk bad about your 2-time defending SEC East.
Yes. Well, they're the team
And they're the
nobody
favorite to win
ever
it the third
believes
time.
in. They open the year at home against Bowling Green. Then they have OU at home on the 12th, Western Carolina. Their first road game is on the 26th in the Swamp. We'll see if Butch Jones has the same karma that everybody else has had with Florida. Then they come home to play the Razorbacks, Georgia on the 10th, and that is looming to be a big game, especially if they've beaten Florida at that point. Then they have a week off to get ready for Bama on the 24th. Halloween, an early game against Kentucky. That's at Lexington, but they should still win that. Then the 7th, the Gamecocks are coming in, and they're still steamed after having blown a big lead to Tennessee and losing to them in overtime last year. Then they're home for North Texas, at Mizzou, and end the year at home against Vandy. I mean, is 8-4 or 9? Go ahead.
I think it'll come down to that Florida, Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama stretch.
Yes.
If they can get out of that 2-2, they'll be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. I agree. Especially if the 2 wins are Florida and Georgia. If the 2 wins are Florida and Georgia, then everything could be riding on that Missouri game in Columbia on the 21st of November. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think Tennessee has good possibilities this year.
They seem to be the darling dark horse pick in the SEC this year.
Yeah. Well, let's see about those Ole Miss Rabbles. Well, they clearly believe in cranking it up in non-conference play. They open the year on the 5th against the UT Martin Skyhawks. But then they have Fresno State coming in on the 12th. Very early on, they have Bama in Tuscaloosa on the 19th, home for Vandy on the 26th, at Florida on the 3rd, New Mexico State on the 10th, and then they come to the Liberty Bowl to play the Tigers. And that could be a surprisingly big game on the schedule. People laugh at me, but if Memphis could be undefeated coming into that game. Seriously. Memphis could be undefeated coming into that game, and they will be gunning for Ole Miss. So, we will just have to see. After that, they're home for the Aggies, at Auburn, and then the last 3, home for the Razorbacks on the 7th, home for LSU on the 21st, and at Starkville for the Egg Bowl. How do y'all see Ole Miss going out of that?
I don't know. I try not to think about Ole Miss.
Well, they are the closest SEC school to Memphis.
And
I just wonder how much that at Alabama early is going to. I mean, other than that, their schedule is not horrible.
No.
I know that ESPN has really stopped giving two shits about their Thursday night games,
Yes.
but Cincinnati and Memphis is the ESPN Thursday night game.
I would say if you're Ole Miss, it's that late season. Their late season is pretty brutal. You got A&M, Auburn, Arkansas, LSU, and Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And that's what killed them last year, is that closing run, because they just couldn't keep performing.
Yeah.
Luck runs out on you. I mean, they've got an easy stretch of the season. I mean, we're talking about both teams could be 6-0 going into that game. But even if they beat let's say they beat Memphis and they're 7-0, and let's be honest, they should beat Memphis. Like you said, their next 5 games, they could easily lose all 5.
Yeah.
They should.
Well,
they could go for it. They should be.
Ole Miss will lose to Alabama or Florida.
I don't know if they lose to.
I don't think they're going to be undefeated going into Memphis.
I said they could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have to beat Bama. I see them beating I mean, I look at that, and Bama is really. I mean, Florida isn't going to be Florida for a year or two. I think there's just too much work there. But I'm going to tell you, I think that at the very worst, I can see them at the very worst being 5-1, and very possibly 6-0 going into that Memphis game. Bama is clearly the toughest game going into that, but it's not a stretch to think that Ole Miss could be 6-1 or 5 or 7-0 going into that game, and that would be, if they were 7-0 and then lose to Memphis. Yeah, I agree, John. Theoretically, they should beat Memphis, even in Memphis, because Memphis had losses on defense. And it was Ole Miss's defense that essentially crushed Memphis and Oxford last year.
Memphis will have 2 weeks to prepare. I mean, they'll be for
Yes.
that game because they'll. But I mean, Memphis has a 4-week run from September 24th through October 23rd, where they're going to be on national TV 3 times definitely, and possibly a 4th.
Yeah.
Actually, for all 4 games, because they're the Thursday night game with Cincinnati.
Then the following.
The ESPN2 on USF against Southern Florida. The Ole Miss game, if both teams are 5-0 or 6-0.
Yeah.
I got to look at the schedule to see what could be flexed into that. But then the next week on October 23rd, they're at Tulsa, and that's on a Friday.
Yes.
So October 23rd. Okay, I need to go up 2 weeks. No, 1 week. October 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that Ole Miss Memphis game being like the 5 o'clock ESPN2 game.
Yeah.
I'm just looking to see who else playing that week. That could be ESPN. Washington State. Let's see. The night game's already going to be Ohio State at Rutgers on ABC.
Yeah,
High Point Solution Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. The Ohio State University versus the University of New Jersey.
Yes. Nobody ever died for dear old Rutgers.
Yes, they did. They're just buried under the stadium. I don't know. Here's a tough game that they got to deal with. It's also at 4 o'clock. Law Monroe at Idaho. There's a lot of to be determined, which is, of course, expected. Duke, Virginia Tech, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M.
What's the date on that game?
Where am I on it? Hold on, I'm on the wrong week. The 17th. I'm a week later. Hold on, let me go back a week. Let's see. I'm sorry. Penn State at Ohio State is the 7 o'clock game.
What's the date on it?
USC Notre Dame is the 6:30. Holy shit! Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows that that's going to be a big game? Oh wait.
1-4 versus 1-4.
Oh, I don't think USC will be 1-4. Although I don't know.
2-3.
Let me see. Well, no,
Alabama,
okay.
Texas A&M is that week.
Wow. Arkansas State, Southern Cal. Wow. That Southern Cal opens at home against A-State. That's a loss. Then they have Idaho. That's a win.
Here's some games that Memphis and Ole Miss have to deal with: Mizzou, Georgia; Florida, LSU; Alabama, Texas A&M; Vandy, South Carolina; Virginia Tech, Miami; Louisville, Florida State. This is like the week. It's like, okay, we were bitching about those first 3 weeks. Week 7's making me go, okay. West Virginia, Baylor. Oh, baby, that game's going to be fun to watch.
72-70.
Yeah. Again. And then the exact opposite of that, Michigan State, Michigan. Idaho at Troy.
Oh man, that's.
Well, I mean,
6 great games that week already. I mean, just looking at it, there's at least 6 great games.
Yes. That's just scary.
For potential as far as the SEC goes, we got Florida at LSU and Alabama at Texas A&M. It seems like one of those games would get the 2:30 slot.
My guess is Alabama and Texas A&M.
Oh my!
I mean, if both teams have a good record, they could get that ESPN primetime slot.
LSU Florida traditionally is the 2:30 game. It depends on how many drunk coon asses they want.
Well, yeah.
Because I mean, Florida it's Florida LSU is going to be the night game, and then they probably would put Alabama Texas A&M at 2:30.
Yeah.
And then they would put probably Ole Miss Memphis at 5 as the lead-in to Vandy South Carolina or Mizzou Georgia. Probably Mizzou Georgia.
Yeah, but you don't want to burn out A&M. I mean, you don't want to burn out Bama that early.
Who gives a shit?
Well,
you put them on at 2:30. It's at College Station. How's that burning them out, Steve?
Oh, no, I'm talking about in terms of, CBS only gets each team so many times a year, and that may not be a game they want to use Alabama on.
Alabama's ratings.
Well, yes.
Of all of those games, I mean, the only one that's guaranteed to draw ratings is Alabama, Texas A&M.
Well,
and they like to put LSU on at night, so I mean.
Yeah, you always want to save LSU. I mean, the only other game I could see would be Georgia Mizzou.
Yeah.
Nothing else makes sense.
Well, I mean, that could be a big game in the East. That could be Georgia Mizzou could potentially be a bigger game overall than Bama A&M, because you got to think Bama would be heavily favored.
Yeah. We need to talk off air about.
If Missouri and Georgia ends up being that 2:30 game, I think that knocks Memphis Ole Miss out of contention. Because then that slides Alabama and Texas A&M to that 5 o'clock slot.
Well, it might be the Fox Sports SEC game, Fox Sports South SEC game, because they usually get one, and that might well be the one that they get. Week 7.
Do they still have that real early SEC game? I know it's not the Jefferson Pilot anymore, but do they still have that slot?
Yeah, it's SEC Network.
It's all, yeah.
So that would be that Vandy, South Carolina game.
Good Lord, there's even good games on Thursday that week.
I know.
UCLA, Stanford, Auburn, Kentucky, Cincy, BYU on Friday night.
Seven's a killer. I told you.
South Florida, Connecticut,
I wouldn't go that
Michigan State, Michigan, Nebraska, Minnesota. The battle for the $5 chair, or the chair made out of broken, or the trophy from a broken chair. That's hilarious.
West Virginia, Baylor. That's going to be an explosion.
Oregon at Washington at Husky Stadium.
Oklahoma, Kansas State should be interesting.
Good Lord,
Texas Tech,
Pitt
Penn
at
State.
Tech.
That week, I want to go to the game, but it's going to be a case of, do I want to stay home and watch some damn good games too?
I know. That's the thing,
It's like, I love my Tigers. I mean, as I have been called a witch because I am that rarity in this town. I'm a Tiger football fan, but not a Tiger basketball fan.
Actually, well, I bet you this year will be another year that the football team has a chance to be better than the basketball team.
Oh, absolutely, freaking lootly.
Yeah. Well,
You want
guys,
to talk about hot seats? That's Mr. Passler. He's on fire.
Yeah. And he could well get fired if things don't work out
Yeah,
better for him.
his seat is white hot right now.
Oh, yeah. And Austin Nichols transferring to Virginia didn't help matters. Lordy mercy.
Yeah. You can be a nice guy, but you better win some games there, son.
That's it.
well, guys, anything else to add, or do we want to go ahead and wrap it up?
I think we can do up this week, end it up on this note. And a moment of silence, if you would, in the media division for a Hall of Famer, a great guy, an American hero and legend.
Roddy Piper?
Well, not just him. I'm talking about the golden boy himself, Frank Gifford, who shuffled off to that mortal coil on Sunday at the age of 84.
Kathy Lee's husband?
Kathy Lee's husband, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the only question I have is, did you actually see Frank Gifford as a player, Steve?
No.
No. His final game. Now, he played in 64, and I didn't really start watching the NFL until 65 when I was 6 years old. So, I
didn't know when he stopped playing. I knew he played in the 60s.
Yeah. I know Frank Gifford primarily as a broadcaster and what I've seen on video.
Yeah, because now he was still on Monday Night Football long after like the original all those.
He went all the way to 98.
Right, because he was still on when Cosell and Meredith and everybody else was long gone.
Yeah, he stayed on, but he was not the original play-by-play man. Can anyone tell me who the original play-by-play man was on Monday Night Football?
Whoa, Nelly!
That's right. Keith Jackson did the first year, and then
wanted
left
to stab
to
both
go.
Wanted to stab Meredith and
Cosell, and
he went back to college.
He went back to college and essentially succeeded Chris Schenkel at that point. And the rest is history. And Gifford came over from CBS, and he was absolutely the right guy for that three-man booth. He knew how to play the straight man. He exuded class no matter what. And he just, was a hell of a nice guy. And he will be missed.
Well, he was also one of only two players ever to be this, and was a former player that was also a play-by-play.
Yes,
There's only one other major announcer that's done that.
Well,
and you know who that is?
Pat Summerall.
Yes. So a guy who scrambled his brains with alcohol and a guy who scrambled his brains by Chuck Bednarik
Yes.
were the only two.
But he outlived Chuck Bednarik by 3 or 4 months.
But I think Bednarik was older though. Bednarik was like
Yeah.
6 or 7 years older.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When Giff came in the league in 55, Bednarik had been in for like 5 or 6 years.
Because Bednarik
Already.
was 33 or 34 when that infamous hit happened,
Yes.
which was I think Bednarik's last season.
Yes. He went out on the 60 NFL champion Eagles. Mm.
Now, how big was the NFL in the 50s?
It really didn't get big until the key moment for the NFL was the 1958 championship game between the Colts and the Giants on national television, which went into overtime. I'm not even sure who carried the game.
Basically, NFL did not really become much until the 60s in television.
Exactly.
Well, the key decision was the decision by that. Oh crap! Former Commissioner Rozelle
Yes.
got the guys in New York and a couple other in Chicago and
Los
Rams
Angeles.
all to agree to split the money equally and not have individual contracts. When you
Yes.
got that, that was the key.
Yeah. Every game became televised, and all
Not
the
every game was televised yet. That didn't happen until closer to the 70s, but what the big part of that was is that basically he kept it so everybody got the same amount of money.
yeah.
And you didn't have individual contracts like you do with baseball,
Yes.
basketball.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, certain teams still had their same broadcasters. Like Ray Scott did the Packer games, Gifford did the Giant games. Lindsey Nelson did the 49ers. It was, you had certain broadcast teams were paired to certain NFL teams, but.
So hypothetically, in the 50s, you still had guys that couldn't be their only job. They would have to have some kind of side job in the off season.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And their NFL players, not counting the quarterbacks, of course, are still the least paid of all the 4 major sports. And they don't have guaranteed contracts. There's, but as Alton Brown would say, that's another show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And on that note, since we're going to conclude the episode 117. Bitch better have my money. Where's my money, Gino? Where's my money?
There you go.
Bye.
We think what was
Good
it?
night.